we go through this, Bruce, I'm gonna pitch this one to you, building up on what Michel said, that, we are obviously insights, we've all been in the industry. We know what insights can deliver. Insights is just one way. But media activation, and we saw from both Lluís as well as Michel, is on one hand, Lluís has talked about personalization, landing on a website and getting a personalized experience at an individual level, just like Michel said, that you have to activate. And from that perspective, I mean, having granular data, having identity at the level, where do you see, how deep do you think collaboration will go in the future? With, there's a lot of things about like creating collaboration spaces where you exchange insights only. How do you see the future being balanced out between these in collaboration?
I think there's a couple of approaches that we're seeing. One is insights. That's the obvious. Whether that's within a brand or across brands and media owners, so they can see what kind of audience overlap do we have. Mm-hmm. The second is going to be activation. Do I have the scale? And if I don't have enough scale one-on-one with a partner or a media owner in a brand, should I go to a network? So we're starting to see NetID in Germany. We're seeing the Ozone Project in the UK. Europe is moving faster to collaboration than the US markets are. So we're going to start to see more collaborative environments to gain scale in order to compete with the walled gardens. The third use is going to be measurement and attribution. Again, starting clean rooms to go into a Google or a Facebook, et cetera, is one thing, but really being able to understand what happens on the whole journey, not just the journey as it goes into a black hole of a walled garden. And we're going to see more walled gardens. So the easiest use case is probably personalization on owned. So on that website, programmatic, we think will be second. And then the third will be the connected TV ecosystem.
You're seeing that. No, that's a good way of setting this up. Lluís, I'm going to go back to you because I saw in your presentation, I think this is something a lot of us are going to be curious about is, we are here virtually. If this was last year, we'll all be together on stage. There is this unprecedented COVID effect happening. I know it's changing a lot in your industry. How does, when you said you were leading digital transformation, do you see this effect? Has it accelerated? Are you making decisions faster? Are you looking at data more? What is your experience in this right now? And what do you advise for other brands that may be just starting this or have learned that, digital transformation has to happen now with COVID?
Yeah, I think in our industry, as you know, we are not a tech company. We are a hotel company with more than 90 years of history. So it's true that we now are facing a battle with the OTAs, with Expedia and Booking and so on. So one of our challenges or one of our privilege is that we have the customer more than 1 week in our hotel, in our shop. No, so we can gather a lot of data for every user. But the challenge here is that we need to activate this data, and we need to enrich this data for the in-experience in our hotel and for the look-aliking maybe, or the marketing automation for future booking. Okay, so one of the questions that in our industry, all of my colleagues in our companies say to us is, why a user should book a hotel night the direct, even or not in Booking or in Expedia? Why you should book direct without hitting the rate of the hotel night? Okay, so for me the answer is, you need to customize the booking experience for every user. You need to know before the user lands if he or she is a couple or is a family. If they are a couple, you don't need to offer a nursery. maybe if he or she loves golf, you need to offer golf. But if I don't play golf, so don't offer me golf in the booking engine, because you maybe have one or two bullets to make a booking, and we cannot hit the price because, as you know, in the travel industry, there is a travel parity around the world, because if we hit the price, we all get in trouble.
Mhm.
So for me, the biggest challenge in travel is to gather the data and activate the data in a stay and for the future bookings or the future marketing. So with Zeotap, we are solving this because we can enrich the data even if the user has never been in our website. So we can anticipate to the user behavior in our site for maximizing these early ballots to increase the conversion rate.
So Daniel, following up on that, this personalization use case that you're doing, this is happening in real time. You're establishing that. Do you want to talk a little bit more about so this is happening across Europe, in which countries? I don't know, by the based in Spain. Maybe a little bit on this personalization and how you're doing this for them.
Referring specifically to Barceló here?
Yeah, or yes, exactly. Or how you, especially in this use case, because you're matching the offers they have and establishing identity with respect.
Yes, Zeotap in general has this solution ready in 14 countries. As I said, it's a full stack. So not the case with Barceló, but sometimes we also land with our CDP to collect first-party data across silos, then natively bake in ID resolution, so third-party ID resolution, which is very relevant for Barceló because let's say a standard CDP, if the user never authenticates on the website, so never logs in, the CDP will not be able to tell, is that a customer or not? And if that is not doable, how can you tailor the website to a net new customer or to an existing customer if you don't know the answer to that question? So in Barceló's case, across a few countries in Europe, we basically identify whether that customer is an existing customer in Barceló's install base. And if so, the website content is tailored with a very different sort of marketing message or very different content than if it's a net new customer and they have never been there or never, let's say, booked with Barceló. And that's basically step 2. And then step 3 is before even tailoring the website, every brand has, a limited scope of their customers, right? Based on the first party data, as Lluís mentioned before. So we say we should further enrich that intelligence with additional third-party intelligence, which is our unified data asset, which is then sort of fed into a next best activity engine, which is also called next best activity upselling, in real time, so that basically first-party data is unified, identity resolved to figure out if that is an existing or new customer, further enriched to understand the individual user level profile, and then the website is customized in real time. That's really how it works technically in the backend.
Thank you for that. Clarify that. So Michel, I'm going to ask something that Bruce mentioned has been in my mind kind of moving. Bruce was talking about the network effect, how if you don't have the right data sets, you go in the marketplace. Now, for a platform like Xperiences in Carrefour, obviously you build it. You are using Safe Haven to share it with very, poignant use cases one by one. Do you see Carrefour ever going into a network with that data, or use on-one basis?
What we have observed is the complementarity of our data.
Yeah, I mean, it's in effect, your platform is built to share data for Carrefour. That's why you monetize it and have control over it. I mean, that was the intent, right?
And what we have observed is the complementarity of our data set with the data set available on the market for the CPG or the publishers. So the network effect is to deliver growth, and every actor on the market could contribute to this growth and could enhance the insights resources by enhance activation capabilities or enhance the data availability on the market to process the measurement analysis, you can contribute to the growth, global growth for all the actors. So regarding the maturity of each actors, we believe that we observe a starting effect of network to build cooperation between the different actors to deliver more effective solutions to marketers. Is that make sense?
Yeah, no, that does make sense, and I'll switch over to Vihan to maybe highlight some of the platform, just like Daniel did, on how you enhance and activate all of these partnerships that are happening in the environment.
Yeah, sure. As I mentioned earlier, I mean, I think the core foundational, piece of the platform is actually the permissioning engine, which allows transparency, to be made available for the different parties involved. Right. I think that's number one. Number two is the way you actually, connect your data at which level, right? So you can actually have an audience level collaboration, you can have a identity level collaboration, or you can actually have very raw, transactional data sets, which are made available, right? So what we have tried to do is to bring in the flexibility required for different types of, partnerships to occur, right? So what we are seeing, for example, today is, even if I go back to the Carrefour example, Carrefour wants to be able to partner with a telco in order to provide new TV measurement services, in the local markets, right? The kind of data sets, which are being connected are very different, in this case than, what Carrefour might want to share with a P&G or a Coca-Cola or somebody else, right? So this flexibility is inherently part of the platform, and number three, we are investing significantly in the privacy preservation side of the story, where there is one thing which is compliance, and the other thing is more related to privacy preservation and how the data is actually made available, for different parties to consume that data set, right? So we fundamentally believe, collaboration is the future of identity. We actually believe that collaboration is the future of single customer view. However, you do need to provide different levels of control so that the data providers feel comfortable in connecting their data sets together to build out better understanding of the customer and a fuller customer view. I think I see a lot of people on the on the chat from Axiom, and I think single customer view as a concept has existed for the last 30-40 years. However, I think being able to create a full single customer view in today's ecosystem, in today's world, requires partnerships to enhance and enrich a proprietary data set that you might actually already have, and that's kind of what we are trying to achieve here.
No, thank you for that. I think we're heading towards the end, and what I was hoping to get is let you guys think about like 1 year ahead and make a prediction. Well, first prediction should be, will we be meeting in person at ICOM if we are? But I would like to start with Bruce and say, if you guys want to make a prediction in a year, is there going to be, we know the Google and the Apple news and privacy and CPR got passed and all those things. So I'll start with Bruce because he is Winterberry, so he's more plugged in. So I'll start with you. The rest can have a little bit of time, and then we'll go through the next ones.
So I'll give you two predictions. One, I think 2021 is going to be a year of transformation as we migrate. And if it's like GDPR or CCPA, there'll be a big rush the second half of next year. But we will get through the transformation. And second, I think over the next 5 years, because of all of the collaboration and the new approaches, we'll double the size of this market.
Okay, Daniel?
Yes, so we see a universal ID land grab out there in the market underway. And we believe that in the next 12 to 18 months, there will be a consolidation on the deterministic side to 4 to 5 globally, and on the general side, like Bruce said, 6 to 7.
Vihan, do you want to go next?
Yeah, sure. I think 2021 is going to be a year where, I think publishers, brands, and tech providers will need to take, the consumer very seriously in terms of providing the right level of transparency, the right kind of an experience in order for all the things we're talking about to actually happen. Right. I think the fundamental issue with the industry is one where the consumers don't really trust or know our ecosystem fully, and because of the regulatory environment, but also because I think brands and publishers are too dependent on the walled gardens. There will be a significant focus around educating the consumer as well as bringing the right kind of transparency, which is key to growing this market.
Michel, do you want to go next?
Yes, I'm very aligned with the with the Vihan predictions, and I believe truly in the creativity of marketers to deliver operation privacy by design in the future, the next 12 months.
And Lluís?
Yeah, for me, the server side will be a must. So we are going to forget the tag management on a client side. So for me, the server side and the ID resolution will be something that every brand or every publisher will need to have in the 2021.
Good. And I would say Google's Ads Data Hub will get a new name next year. So, and with that, I think are we on time? Thought we were. Well, we're not. We can continue going on. I thought we were running. Bruce, I will let you make a statement on how do you see this identity going through on a globalization perspective, on a global set? Because we are in Europe. There's a lot of things that are happening with identity outside the US. This is a very advanced market. So I would love for you to talk a little bit about like what do you see overall happening in the space? I know LiveRamp and Zeotap both have global presence, but anything from your side?
Yeah, I think we are going to see more globalization of the solutions. Obviously, we've seen more companies coming from Europe into the US, which is a little bit of a reversal for ad tech. I think APAC is trailing right now. And LATAM is further behind. But markets like Mexico and Brazil, I think, are going to catch up more rapidly. I think it is going to be about permission, as Vihan said. Mm-hmm. You need the consumer's permission, you need the partner's permission. I think we're going to see more consolidation in this market and more expansion at the same time. So what I mean by that is there's going to be merger and acquisition activity that brings these solutions together. At the same time, we're seeing so much work in analytics and artificial intelligence that's going to expand what's possible.
Vihan, globally, where do you see your platform going?
Yeah, I think that's one of the reasons I was, not agreeing with Daniel around the universal ID piece, is because I think creating a graph in today's regulatory environment in every single country on the planet is a really, really, hard thing to do. And so, having the possibility of being basically an infrastructure play where we are the connectivity layer between the publishers as well as brands allows us the capability to be really global really quickly, and this is something we are really focused on, and we expect LiveRamp solutions to be at a global reach pretty soon.
Daniel, do you want to add to that?
Yeah, I mean, as a general global outlook, I agree with everything that my two other speakers just said. We see partly consolidation in MarTech, AdTech. The market is really crowded. It's freaking hard for marketers to figure out what's right for them. Pitches often sound very similar, and there's a lot of nuances. So the devil's in the detail. It's really hard to raise in this ecosystem. Let's say for early stage startups or mid stage scale ups, so it's really hard to raise. So I don't see a lot of new market entrants really playing at scale in this given environment. It's getting harder and harder with more privacy regulations coming up. I expect the US to some degree follow GDPR over the next 4 years, especially with the Democrats winning. Usually they pursue a stricter view on the world of privacy. So consolidation in both MarTech in general and also on the universal ID side, and an increase in future privacy regulation.
Yeah, no, that is definitely something that we see in the landscape, along with a lot of brands coming up with RFPs around CDPs and identity platforms. I think those are all global, and it's very hard, like Vihan said, to create an identity infrastructure and have the data assets and to do that. So you obviously, I think both Zeotap and LiveRamp have invested a lot of time and thinking in creating that. And, I think that's the leadership that is required from the industry as both Google and Apple start shutting down the last mile. Bruce, when you see this thing happening, right? And the reason I'm setting this up is, we have a Q&A, and I have a Q&A with you, and maybe I'm being a little selfish here. We have a Q&A session with me and Bruce, and Vihan and Michel will be together in a room. Me and Bruce will be together, and Lluís and Daniel will be together. So one of the things that we are going to be more and more clients are going to talk about are things like privacy and security, and what level of collaboration do I do with my customer and client enough to get tracking? And what are your thoughts on some of the other identity consortiums coming out to replace the Google 2.0? Unified 2.0 is one of them. Obviously, there's ATS, there's other things coming in. ID5 is one. Where do you see those identity sort of consortiums leading?
So I think that some are consortiums, some are other approaches. There's the InfoSum bunker approach to the market that some are adopting primitive, and we're seeing more in the contextual sector. So I think there's going to be more context. I think that we need a general solution for the longer tail of the market. We're going to see more private gardens as well. Those scaled enterprises like Carrefour, like Walmart, Target, CVS, that have their identity ecosystems based on their technology, but they're going to work with the LiveRamps and the Zeotaps. It's not going to be just one-to-one. It's going to be one to many. And I think that's part of it.
And it's very true, like, privacy and security, like Daniel mentioned, it's legal on a technology perspective, and neither legal or technology is cheap. You have to invest a lot. When brands are going to move into this space, they have to give credit to the companies that are building something to almost rival the walled gardens, right? I mean, with neutrality. And there's a lot of effort that goes into creating those data assets, as Vihan mentioned, with legal infrastructure, graph databases, the identity resolution. All of that is extremely expensive, as well as legal, because the laws are changing as we see in the US, in Europe, and things will keep moving on. I will, Michel, I'm going to ask you one last thing. One of the things that retailers are seeing is a resurgence in, especially at least in the US. I'm sure that's happening everywhere. Retailers are seeing a lot of growth, as are CPGs. Are you spearheading and accelerating your digital transformation as you go through? Because there's a lot of demand post-COVID for CPG as well as retailers to connect and do a lot more business together.
We proposed to brand new data sharing. So data sharing is not new thing, but we are added to data sharing, new data, and clients' data is a new data. So we could build cooperation based on our data set, a new data set. So we think that we are in a position to offer to the market, and especially to the food industry, new tool to reinvent marketing and to create a new efficiency for conversion. So it's about ROI, so optimizing their marketing investment, and is also to accelerate digitalization of their marketing investment, because they have access to the measurement tool, and especially test versus control analysis, and is also to imagine the new client path in our stores to accelerate conversion. So maybe new growth, maybe new revenue coming from new marketing operations. So in that way, I believe that we are in a swing spot for all the actors on the market to deliver a new trend on the transformation with digital.
I think that's a great closing point, because we are at time, and yes, retail is in a sweet spot, and yes, this is data monetization is going to grow. I'd like to thank you all. This has been great, a virtual experience. So thank you all.